Right, it's Homebrew Wednesday, so what better time to do the last 3 beers for my batch of the Smash Off 2019 group. We've got 0106, 0107 and 0109. So these are all grouped together because they're very much European style beers. They're not necessarily of the same style as such at all, but they're certainly all different to the more English style ales that I've drunk so far. So we've got a Vienna malt and Styrian Wolf hops beer with 0106, fermented with WLP 644. We've got a Trappist single with Vehemen Pilsner malt and pearl hops, and Belgian Abbey yeast. And we've got a 0109 is a saison with Pilsner malt and Hallertau Blanc. So let's get into them and see what these beers are like. Okay, so 0106, Vienna malt and Styrian Wolf hops. Really like Vienna malt. I think it's a really good option for smash beers. Styrian Wolf hops, I have used them before. It was quite a while ago. Yeah, they're one of the newer Slovenian hop varieties. Quite fruity. Can't really remember what sort of fruit profile I got off of those when I used them. I can certainly smell quite a bit of fruitiness coming off of this already. This is bottled off the keg, 35 IBUs, 5.1%. The interesting thing about this beer for me is it's got WLP 644, which is the Bruxellensis Trois yeast, which is a, well, it was categorised as a wild or Brett yeast at one point, but I think they've changed that now. So people are using this a lot in kind of fruity, hazy pale ales and IPAs. Yeah, so appearance wise, bit of a haze on it, but not totally opaque. Nice colour, kind of golden, amber straw coloured, little bit of head on the top, which seems to be sticking around, and a good level of carbonation. There is a lovely aroma coming off of that. It's kind of like a sweet, sort of almost candy-like, almost juicy fruit gum sort of fruity aroma. Yeah, that's pretty promising. So let's get this one into the glass. And this is 0107. I think I'm going to be a little bit careful with this because there have been a couple of warnings about this one being a bit lively. There's loads of information on the bottle just before I do crack it open. So yeah, Trappist single. They've even given us the BJCP category for that, 26A. Vehemen Pilsner malt, pearl hops, so classic German hops there. Yeah, this is looking a bit lively. This sort of style of beer is supposed to be quite carbonated, but maybe not quite that carbonated. Yeah, unfortunately that did just kick up a whole load of yeast off of the bottom of the bottle there, so it was really clear in the bottle, but it's not anymore, and this one I think is going to need a little bit of time to settle. So as well as the information about the style and stuff on there, we've got a suggested serving temperature, very thorough, 10 to 13 degrees. This was at the bottom end of that serving range in the fridge there, set to 10. So it's not because it's too warm that it's done that. And they've also specified not to use a nucleated glass. And yeah, that wasn't nucleated, but as you can see, yeah, it's just come out of the bottle a bit lively. So I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there's kind of yeast flying around in that now, unfortunately. I'm not sure if any floaters have got into the glass, but we'll see. It does have that classic kind of spicy Belgian, slightly phenolic aroma on there. Yeah, with a bit of sweet grain, maybe some hop, herbal hop notes as well. So last one, 0109. Best Malts Pilsner, Hallertau Blanc, Mangrove Jack's M29 French Saison yeast, so it's a Saison basically. ABV 4.8, IBUs 21.3. This one is bottle conditioned. Hallertau Blanc's one of the nice new German hops. Quite a kind of white grape flavour on that one, but maybe a little bit more subtle than you get from Nelson Sauvin, which is the New Zealand hop variety, which has a similar kind of fruit profile to it. Now, I don't get on with some Saisons, but mainly it's because they tend to be, well, the ones that I don't really like are the ones that tend to have all sorts of weird ingredients thrown into them, spices, herbs, other strange things that I personally don't think they usually often need, and fruit additions and stuff as well. This is quite well carbonated also, and yeah, there's a little bit of yeast to kick up off of the bottle there. So I'll try and get it into the glass clean. It was nice and clear in the bottle before that. I don't think it's over carbonated. It's maybe just a little bit of a loose yeast for bottle conditioning, this one. So yeah, I think that has maybe given that a little bit more of a haze than what it started with. So this one's a lot paler, very light sort of yellow straw colour to it. Not much head on the top, but it is reasonably well carbonated. Oh, that's a lovely aroma though on there. Yeah, you're definitely getting the that Hallertau Blanc aroma. I suspect that this is quite well hopped. And yeah, there's a little bit of that kind of saison-y, spicy, not funky, but you know, just a slightly more aromatic yeast aroma than you would get with most sort of standard ale yeast. So that's the 3 into the glass. Kind of done the smell test already, so let's just go back to the 0106. Yeah, that definitely smells like kind of juicy fruit gum or fruit salad sweets, actually. Yeah, you know, the sort of penny chews fruit salad sweets, it smells a bit like that. To me anyway. I'm sure other people think it smells completely different. They're currently going, what are you talking about? But that's what I'm getting. Very very sweet aroma. I do tend to get very sweet grain aroma from Vienna malt as well. Like I said, the Styrian Wolf hops, I can't really remember what sort of fruit profile they give. I just know that they are quite fruity, maybe some kind of berry notes off of those, and the 644 yeast is a bit funky as well, so you've got quite a bit going on with this that could be contributing to that. Yeah, it's got a nice flavour to it, good full body, which I'd expect from the Vienna malt, because it's definitely a bit more you know, depth of flavour and colour to it than some of the other lighter malts that might be used. There's quite a juicy taste to it, maybe just a hint of, I know I said that 644 isn't a wild yeast anymore, but maybe there is just a slight touch of, I wouldn't say funkiness as such, but maybe just a hint of that slightly more almost farmhousey kind of taste. Very interesting flavour profile though. Let's try the Trappist single. So yeah, it definitely smells the part. I think as soon as you'd smell that, you'd think that it was a light Belgian beer of some kind. It does smell quite similar to a triple to me, which I guess is a similar beer except for the higher ABV. Yeah, it's quite an intense flavour to that. You're definitely getting the hallmarks of the style, so I think it's matching up to the style that they've kind of given there in terms of the spiciness, maybe a hint of phenolic flavour from the yeast. The carbonation is a little bit over the top, which maybe gives it a slightly a little bit too much of a bite from the carbonation, and I think there is a little bit of a yeast bite there as well, because as you can see, you know, it is quite a lot of yeast being kicked up into that. So yeah, that's nice. There's a little bit of a shame about the carbonation level on that, but otherwise pretty good beer. And let's get on to the Saison with Hallertau Blanc. So yeah, the head's kind of died away completely on that. Not sure if Saisons are really expected to have a lingering head on it. The aroma is still fantastic, really nice, juicy, kind of grapey smell with some kind of berry notes in there as well. Maybe a bit of almost like a sort of plummy smell to it, but yeah, really nice aroma. Yeah, good flavour to it too. So it's definitely got a lot of flavour from the Hallertau Blanc, I think, coming through on this one, which is very nice. The Pilsner malt is just kind of providing a little bit of a blank slate for that, which is fine, because you're getting quite a lot of character from the hops and the yeast with this. So there's a little bit of spice from the Saison yeast. Nice mouthfeel, but quite dry. Yeah, I like that. That is pretty good. Okay, so 3 pretty decent beers there. Yeah, a couple of minor issues, I think, but nothing too bad. And lots of quite strong and appealing flavours coming through on those. So I will retire to do a little bit more thinking and compose my final thoughts on the last 3 beers for me anyway, for the 2019 Smash Off, and get back to you in a minute. Okay, so final thoughts on these 3. As a round altogether, I think this is probably the strongest set of beers that I've actually had so far. So yeah, really impressed with the overall quality of those 3, and it was really difficult picking them apart. Yeah, I enjoyed all of them, to be honest, but I think out of the 3, I've actually kind of got 2 of them sort of level pegging and 1 just slightly behind, but the 2 favourites for me were 0106 and 0109. So 0107 was very close behind. It was really just the sort of issues there with the carbonation and how that affected the flavour slightly for me that were the problems. Otherwise, you know, that might actually have been the best one for me had that not been there, but or even a 3-way tie, I don't know. They were all really close anyway, so it was difficult to pick them apart. So 0106 for me, very nice beer. The aroma was really good, like I said, nice kind of sweet candy-like aroma on it. Flavour wise, I eventually sort of managed to figure out what that kind of flavour that I was getting. There's actually a little bit of strawberry there for me, maybe some melon as well. So some really interesting flavours coming off of that combination of the Styrian Wolf hops and the I think the yeast particularly as well contributing to that. The Vienna malt definitely helped to give the sweetness to it, and it also gave it a really good mouthfeel, so a nice full sweet kind of body and mouthfeel to that one. I thought that probably had the best mouthfeel out of the 3. There was a little bit, just a touch of kind of earthiness in the background, and maybe even a very slight, as I mentioned before, slightly sort of almost farmhousey taste maybe. So yeah, I mean, I think that's not necessarily to my taste, but I think a lot of other people would like that. But that was just a very subtle thing I got on the back end of that. But I still really enjoyed that. Excellent beer as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so 0107, the Trappist single. As I said earlier, it was over carbonated in my opinion. It's jumping out the bottle, so you can't really sort of get away from that. And it did go from being a perfectly clear yeast, which, as it's got the style on it, I will make reference to the style that's given. It should be a fairly clear beer, and it didn't end up that way because of all the yeast that got kicked up. The flavour profile on it and the aroma were good, but there was some kind of flavours on the aftertaste, I think, that probably came as a result of the overcarbonation, so just a little bit astringent and a little bit of a little bit of an astringent bite to it at the end. I think was probably just from that slightly elevated level of carbonation and some of the yeast kick up as well. So yeah, it was a shame, because I think that was a really good beer, but it just it just was overcarbonated, and that slightly affected the overall impression for me on that one. Yeah, I'd like to have tried that, just if I'd had the time to degas it or something, that would have been better. I mean, it did improve once I'd actually just let it rest in the glass for a little bit and degas a little bit that way. And then 0109 finally, really like the aroma on this one, so you definitely get a big, kind of pungent white grape aroma off of that, but with a kind of hoppy, herbal, sort of slightly dank thing going on as well. I think some people might interpret that as being a little bit almost sweaty, but I quite like it anyway, so don't know what that says about me. But yeah, good beer. I think worked, really good combination. I thought the Hallertau Blanc and the Saison yeast, that was a good shout. Bitterness was quite low on that in terms of the IBUs, but I thought it was really well balanced for that sort of style of beer. With the spiciness you get from the yeast, that worked quite well, so that was good. And had a really kind of flavourful taste profile on it as well. Lots of that kind of juicy sort of grape-like flavour, but also some spiciness from the yeast as well. Quite almost a slightly sort of cidery kind of lemonade type finish on it as well. So a nice kind of citrusy edge as well on it. So yeah, really refreshing. If the sun was still around, it would be a perfect beer for that sort of weather. So yeah, 3 great beers there. 01, 06 and 0109, the two that were the best for me, but they all scored well, to be honest, even with the issues with it. 0107 still scored very well compared to some of the other beers that we've seen. So yeah, well done to all the brewers on those 3, and again, thank you for sending them in. Thank you very much to everyone who helped with the competition, and especially to David Lucas for organising it, the Hubs for sending out the beers, and I hope everyone else enjoys the rest of the beers they've got left to drink, and good luck to everyone in the competition. So looking forward to seeing how all the scores come out now. All right, cheers.
I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, that or his dudeness or Duder or, El Duderino.